this one. Listen here. 1776 will commence again if you try to take our guns.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!
The hell is that? Good evening, everybody. Now, I knew that this week was going to fly by with the Spring Fling showing up on Friday night over here at the studio, the VIP night. I knew that it was just going to fly by. And then Saturday night, the main event, but I didn't think it was going to go by this quick. It's already Hump Day. And it's 7 p.m., so that means that we're already spilling over the top of the hump. Of course, this is the peak of the hump for me, because this is when a full day of work gets put to the test. What will we get out of this? I don't know. Bunch of shit. But I have a late addition to the show is Megan Fox. She's going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. No, actually less than 15 minutes, because tonight, of the things that we are going to do, we are going to talk about this $200,000 Star Wars Lego scandal that's going on out there, I believe, in Utah. And people were talking about it in the Discord, and I started getting, up on it all. I said, oh, shit, definitely have to talk about this. This is right up my alley. Not because of the Star Wars aspect, but it's just it's a crazy story. And then I said to myself, as I'm writing the show today and putting all the pieces in place, because we got to talk about what's going on in California. We will in just a second. And then we'll check in on what's going on now, the riots and the upheaval in the UK. And every time this happens, you say, "Is this it? Is this it? Is this finally is this when push is going to finally come to shove and we're not looking back?" You just don't know, because it's going to get there eventually, and it's going to have to get there, because you can't reason with the kind of mind virus, with the insanity that has taken hold of institutions on either side of the pond being the Atlantic Ocean. And so we'll see with that. But I wanted to put that all around. I said, who should get in touch with? Megan Fox. So I got in touch with Megan. I said, have you covered this Star Wars Lego set story? And she said, yeah, it's crazy. I said, great. Can you come on with me in the first hour? So I switched that around. She'll be on with us in a second. We're going to watch a few minutes of just to set the tone from a creator on YouTube called Reckless Ben, who has found himself in the middle of all this and is and that's why I love it. You want to talk about the white pill, taking the social media white pill, what it's really all about. How the internet still, right? And tonight the theme is, of course, that we're not buying it. We're not buying the bullshit anymore. The real question about where does it come to from here? How? All right, we're not buying the bullshit on several different levels. How does that translate into action? What kind of action? How are we able to keep our cool and actually focus our attention into some, reasonable, effective action, and not false flagged into being the, into acting in the very primal way that we are genetically predisposed to act in whenever we feel threatened. And that's exactly what's going on here. You know, we talked about all the psychological programming that has really taken out the West in a far more insidious way than any invading army had ever, you know, stalked a kingdom outside of its walls or something like that, just by brute force alone. It's all psychological, and the one thing that it had to happen first was to instill a sense of self-loathing, and also to abandon anything that would even weakly resemble the desire to preserve oneself and one's culture. And of course, that is coming to a head in places like France and England, more than even over here, even though we see it all over the place as well. Some places worse than others. Anyway, that's really all about right now. It's like, what is it? We're not buying it anymore. And also, to latch onto that white pill, that is, we still do have the ability to anoint new media, and that the internet is still truly the last authentic fourth estate, which was supposed to be the media, which was supposed to be that independent entity that existed outside of whatever governments we set up, knowing how you put people together who have been given one level of delegated authority over another, and there's going to inevitably be corruption. There's going to be corruption at your local YMCA, your local rec center. You give somebody a little bit, you give them an inch, they're eventually going to take a mile. They're going to make themselves the dictator of a little hamlet in New York. Whatever it is, nothing goes on in my little league field without my say so. Bury you next to the right field foul pole. How dare you? Anyway, that's what I'm talking about. Because in this country, the fourth estate has become the fifth column. I believe that Michael Savage said that once. I got Michael Savage on the mind since we went into the flip side last night, and we ended the night by listening to one of many Michael Savage eviscerating callers angrily over 12, 15 years ago, when Matt first introduced me to him, and I was like, oh, this is just it. He's like a spirit animal of mine. This is awesome. And that's such a great line, that the fourth estate has become the fifth column. You know, the thing that's supposed to keep power in check by shining light where there's only darkness and holding people to account by bringing their dirty deeds out into the public has actually long since gone into bed with those powers and is more of a deflective and evasive force to help give them cover for whatever the fuck they're doing. And now the internet is really, it could be the stick in the spokes. It really still could be, and in many ways is. So please, I guess I should roll that into a plea for you all to like, comment, make sure that you are subscribed wherever you're at, and make sure the notifications are on wherever you're at. Rumble, wake up tonight. Rumble is an odd little place, man. You must speak in that chat room, or else you die on the vine so quick. So please just make yourself known through some likes and comments and having a good time, whether you're watching live or on demand. It's going to be a good time. All right. Over in Los Angeles, you want to talk about there being a little bit of a beating heart and what we thought was a dead, rotting corpse. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is from NBC, pulled into a runoff in her race for a second term. She's going to get one of two spots in the November runoff, NBC News projects, with challengers Spencer Pratt and Nithya Raman competing for the other spot. Now, Spencer Pratt, who was a reality TV star from back in the day, is running on a Republican ticket, and the Nithya Raman woman is a Democrat challenger, but it doesn't look like the Nithya woman is going to get very far. And as of right now, primary results are about 60 to 63% counted. Karen Bass, who's the incumbent, is about 35%. Spencer Pratt, about 30%. Nithya Raman, 22%. This was as of a little while ago. So Karen Bass is advancing to November 3rd runoff, and Pratt leads for second spot. Now, the outlook for that? Bass versus Pratt, highly likely. Ramen trailing, but unlikely to flip it with the kind of distance she has behind Spencer Pratt. I don't know what that means. The real question is that out of the 22% who threw down with Ramen, are they pissed off about Karen Bass's time as mayor in Los Angeles? Are they pissed off enough to pull the trigger for Spencer Pratt, who is at least Republican on ticket only, just because you enter somewhere, you get some kind of funding? I don't know. You think that they're pissed off enough with Karen Bass to actually vote for a Republican or someone who just at least compromised enough to run on the ticket? I don't know. But it's really great to see people putting up a fight, because it's more so about what is coming out of people. Like I've said so many times before, whether or not you're going to get any kind of change out of an election, is voting a revolutionary act? It has not been in many instances, but I don't care about that more than I care about seeing and hearing people who are able to get messages out and to see what's going on, to just gauge how far across the threshold that we are crossing, as far as not being able to accept anything that used to be the norm and how things are run and how things were characterized in the past. That's a big part of what was going on last night. Even from the standpoint of how willingly are we to shut up while we're browbeaten with the same old bullshit when it comes down to race and sexuality and national pride. Like this whole, who the hell was it? The Black Crows? The Black Crows went and they were having a concert somewhere, and for some reason people started a USA chant at the Black Crows concert, and these old crusty liberals on the stage just got all pissed off about it and made some kind of a political statement and whatever, and you get that out of here and all that stuff. Like, you're in America. But of course, the whole idea of having pride in your country, which has been, that's just anathema when it comes to, that's just, if you're a liberal, that is horrible. You're walking around self-flagellating. You're wearing the horsehair sweater all day, whipping yourself. It's just a horrible way of living. And of course, the people who defend the Black Crows for saying, well, yeah, we'll keep that toxic, American bullshit out of here. We have nothing to be proud of right now, which is like a way of saying, look at we have a president that we don't like. We have nothing to be proud of. Shut the fuck up with your projection, you child. Number one. Number two, you're going to get this out of people because it's so far better for people to go out there and start a USA chant and have a little bit of pride, a little bit of dignity of where they come from. And especially if you remember what it was even 15 years ago, to have a little bit of dignity there. It's so much better to do that and reject the liberal, self-loathing nihilism bullshit. That's what's being rejected right here. That's what's being rejected. Here's a little something. MSNBC, they're in the street. MSNBC reporter live on air. They found some Spencer Pratt supporters, and they had to back away once they started getting a little bit too fresh.
It's a much more lively vibe, and in very LA fashion, there's now a chopper flying overhead. He's having his party at a Mexican restaurant that he has loved for years. And there's some Spencer Pratt supporters here who seem in a very good mood. You guys have
Instagram Patriot Wildcam.
You guys have probably seen the latest batch of polling that just came out. Shows him doing pretty well in second place, just 10 points behind Karen Bass. How are you feeling about that? Do you feel really confident that he's going to make it to the runoff?
Definitely, he's going to make it to the runoff. There's a lot of people who already voted for him. Their votes haven't been counted yet. They voted day of the election, old school style. So I think his numbers are going to get better.
What is it about Spencer Pratt that is resonating with you?
Because he's speaking out against communism and socialism, and it is a real big problem in our cities, especially in LA where it's turned to crap. It's not an accident. They're doing it by design. Karen Bass wants to destroy our city, and it's nice to see someone like Spencer Pratt.
I can simplify it because those buzzwords are like they melt the brains of like left leaning people. So let's just say it this way: he doesn't want human feces to be a part of your life. Yeah. He doesn't want homeless children outside.
Totally.
Homeless
Thank
people
you.
outside. Oh,
We
you
have-
didn't
no.
like that.
We have-
She ran away.
We have
He doesn't
talked-
want homeless
Okay,
people outside of
we
the elementary
appreciate
schools
you.
having
Can I
sex
get a shout out real
with
quick?
their
We
own
appreciate
hands
you.
in front of the children.
We appreciate
We don't want homeless people having sex with their own hands outside of the elementary schools. Yeah, I wouldn't want that either. I really would not want that either. And it's crazy. I don't know why it's being suggested to me on Twitter so much these days. Leftists from New York that are diddling their skittles for all to see because Mamdani is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. The balanced budgets, and there are free badminton rackets for everybody. You can go into Central Park and you can play Frisbee. It's all shit you could have done before, but he's filling in potholes. He's got a lot of money from the governor. He's cutting services all over the city and putting them into other things, and it's all bullshit, and it's all unsustainable. And what's been promised can't keep up. And some people are saying, Mamdani's is Democrats' worst nightmare because he's living proof that the Democrats aren't doing their job. But as you guys all know, whenever we're going to talk about current events and especially, shallow ass politics, what the real deal is. He's Democrats' nightmare and Republicans for that respect. In that respect, because he truly believes in what the old guard party members knew was never going to be sustainable, and you can only go so far with the rhetoric as to be able to get votes and hold people in proper orbit so that both parties, the uniparty and the system, continues to make a lot of money, make investments, and essentially the rest of the world, and divesting in the United States and enriching all of their own personal their personal families, and that's all. But I always remember there's a reason why deep blue states, or states that we believe are deep blue, I believe that Vermont actually might be that, but California I think is a big scam. There's a reason why deep blue states like Vermont never actually pull the trigger on single-payer health care whenever it does come up for a referendum in state. Because as libtarded as they are, they know that they would bankrupt themselves. It's actually quite a conservative move of them to be able to say the math doesn't math. And I guess we're going to have to find some other kind of free market way of making competition work in our favor. Now, both parties leech off of people how vampires keep their victims alive. If it's a smart vampire, they drink a little bit, they feed, but they don't kill. People like Mamdani, people like the communists who want to take over Los Angeles and keep control over Los Angeles, they believe the lies about a sustainable utopian communist world. They believe about how that can be funded forever and how everybody can be taken care of. They believe that stuff was possible. That was only just lies in the past. So people like Mamdani, they will ultimately, if they are allowed to continue on, they will ultimately destroy the illusion by eventually killing the host. That's how that's going to. So, one way or another, the old world, the old way of doing things is gone. And that's a white pill for me, man. That's a white pill for me. You can call it hopium. I can just call it hope. I'm a hopeful person. I have my dark moments every so often. Sometimes I have dark moments once or twice an hour. But that's what the virtual fantasy world we've been plugged into so far will make you do. Despair, give up, reach your breaking point. And it's not a productive breaking point. They want people breaking and destroying their lives by abandoning rationally revolutionary paths forward. And when it comes to communists getting their way in the United States, at least policy-wise, whether they win or lose, we win. Because if they win, they actually get their way, everything gets destroyed, and they rule over ashes, and then they've got nowhere to go anyway. And then, it's just a harder path to rebuilding a world. And, it's one of those things. It's not like we're not going to feel any pain. Ripping off a Band-Aid, getting off of this methadone drip. It's going to happen eventually. Anyway, that's what's going on the West Coast. That's what's going on the East Coast and the Central. Who the hell knows, right? Just try to keep our wits about us. Try to keep ourselves above water. Hey, I got a friend of mine. She is an investigative journalist for PJ Media. She does wonderful court reporting for herself. She's a very vibrant brand. She's a great friend of the show. Her name is Megan Fox. Megan, how the hell you feeling?
What's up, Frank? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back. You know, let me ask you as a fellow New Yorker, because we're talking about all these crazy things going on in major cities like Los Angeles, New York City, but New York, upstate New York, which is where you are, truly upstate, not Westchester. People have been calling Westchester, whenever, high school, college, I tell people that I'm from Westchester, like, oh, he's from upstate. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, anything north of Yonkers is upstate. That's how it is for people. But anyway, New York, especially upstate New York, has been front and center of a lot of local fights like that we see in Georgia, all throughout the Midwest. These big tech companies that are coming in with gigantic proposals for data centers, things like that. And there's a lot of local fights. People are rejecting it all over the place. There is a particularly popular fight that's going on right now and is being covered pretty well in the Adirondack region, and that is the New York State Senate passing that floating solar bill. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, we'll take a look at.
But if it ruins the landscapes the way that the wind farms have, I am already feeling rage about it. Okay, because the wind farms out here are a real problem. You cannot drive down the highway and see the beautiful foothills of the Appalachians out here without them being completely marred by these disgusting, otherworldly looking wind farms, and I hate it. So, tell me, what's the next horrible thing I'm going to have to put up with?
Well, I'm surprised you haven't heard about it. His name is, let me see here. New York Senate passes a radical floating solar bill, S471A, 39-21. Far left Albany Democrats rammed through taxpayer and utility funded grants for floating solar panels on reservoirs, canals, ponds, and lakes. No size limits, no Adirondacks ban, no real protections for. Look at how these things are supposed to look.
Oh my God! No,
these are people who care about the earth.
This.
I know. Well, this is at least what's being proposed, and it got through the Senate.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Just a few years ago, they were talking about doing solar panels on highways, which made all the sense in the world. Like how they have rumble strips in the middle or whatever. Instead of that, like having these flat solar panels which makes all the sense in the world out in places like Arizona, in the desert, where you've got, sure, why not? It's not bothering anybody there on the road. The roads are ugly anyway. Who cares? But to pollute the water with it, I live in the Finger Lakes. This will not fly with the billionaires that live on those lakes. No way will they allow that.
You said something right there, Megan, about Arizona, about that Sun Belt in the South. If you have stretches of uninhabited land, desert, and you find some kind of a way to, I don't know, charge up batteries by the copious amounts of solar energy that you can very inconspicuously collect down there, that's fine. I mean, that is a major resource, and I'm sure that you can get some kind of utilities subsidized, and you can put some kind of, you can take some kind of strain off of the power grid or whatever. It makes sense there. But as a New Yorker, I don't live all the way up there, but have spent a decent amount of time in the Adirondack region over the last 10 years. It is cloudy 8 months out of the year. What the hell I don't even know what they're trying, what kind of consumption.
I also don't understand the wind farms. They're barely moving. They never move very much. I don't know how they could be generating anything. They barely move. They go around like this. It's crazy. Then they kill the birds and they kill the view. This is another one of these things. It'll be in the way. Who's going to want to boat how do you boat on a lake like that? Do you know the lakes out here, people are boating and skiing and everything everywhere. What?
I don't know. It's passed the Senate. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of I don't think that you're going to get a veto out of that beaver governor of ours. So I don't know. But take a look at this. Here is part of the Senate bill, the justification for it. You want to see justification?
Who owns it, by the way? Who's going to make all the billions of dollars to put them up?
I don't know, but here is a spoiler for you. There's no achievable goal in this, just money being exchanged and land destroyed. Floating solar technology presents a unique opportunity to expend renewable energy generation while utilizing underutilized water services such as reservoirs, lakes, and canal. We don't need to utilize them. I thought
we already utilize them for recreation and beautification of the land. We don't need any more uses for them. This is absurd. I've never even heard of this is the real problem. You know, they're not telling people about this. It's not like anyone's talking about it, and if the people where I live knew about this, they'd be, you know, running to Albany, I'm sure. Although not me, because I've given up completely on the whole thing. They're just a bunch of assholes, and I'm not going to waste my energy and time trying to change their minds about anything. What's the point?
I know. This bill seeks to incentivize
They're just going to do this shit
and educate stakeholders on floating solar projects, which offer multiple benefits, including increased solar efficiency due to the cooling effect of the water that they are covering up, reduced land use conflicts, and potential improvements.
And what do they do when it freezes over in the winter?
Like I said, 8 months out of the year, it's cloudy.
And cold, freezing cold, and snow will be covering them up. You know, this year we had one of the heaviest snowfall years of, you know, in 20 years. It would have, and the entire lake froze over, which hasn't happened in 20 years. The entire thing would be broken, I would imagine, after that. So who's going to pay for, and then we have to pay for the up costs, I guess, of fixing it. I don't even want to think about it. This is not what I came on here for, Frank.
We're going to do the next thing.
You're making me angry. You sandbag me with this. Hell?
We're supposed to talk about Legos. We're doing that next. I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah, we were going to laugh about Legos, and now you got my blood pressure up, and my blood pressure meds aren't working. This is your fault.
I had to throw it your way. I had to see what you thought, because it's just not. It's crazy to me. Yeah, it's crazy to me that this is happening, especially so because once again, you think of a liberal. In 1995, 6, 7, I'm a little kid, and I hear people loosely referencing liberals or conservatives, and I thought conservatives were stuffy type of people who invited you over to dinner parties on uncomfortable chairs, and you had very tasteless food, and that liberals were the people who went out to California,
put on rock concerts,
and they hugged trees. I was like, what's a tree hugger? Why are they always hugging trees? Hug trees, and they don't wear bras, and they don't vaccinate their kids. And I used to think that was weird. I wish that my 1990s understanding of what a liberal was actually what they were, because now they're covering up lakes. Now they're covering up lakes with the most inefficient way of collecting energy on the world, and they're destroying.
Absolutely insane.
Nuts.
I hope that this never comes to fruition. I can't imagine that this would be a good idea. But can we change the subject? God, I'm just so angry.
Yes, we are. Here's the subject change.
Thank God.
The bricks and minifigs. Every time I see minifigs, I keep saying minifags. And I don't.
I know, me too. I
try to stop.
Which is what I think they should change their name to now.
Yes.
Just from now on, just own it.
The bricks and minifigs $200,000 Lego scandal explained. This is what you might want to see, but you know what? I want to go right to I want to go to Reddit instead, where people who are spending their time on the internet and actually seeing these things take place before their eyes are summarizing them that way. Here it is. Ready for this? And I have a video we're going to watch the first 5 minutes of. Given the severity of these events and the implications it has for the state of Utah, there will not be one main focus for this, and instead I'm going to play this chronologically. The situation starts off rather small, being a man consigned his father's Legos off. He had a Star Wars Lego collection that was appraised at about $200,000, and he wanted to be able to consign this to help cover medical situation that they were dealing with as a family. This is explicitly allowed by Bricks and Minifigs, And the store owner involved was planning on moving overseas, so they were looking for a solution that was fair for this man. And here is a little bit of what we're going to do. Reckless Ben, that is the YouTuber that has been in the middle of all this right now, has gained a lot of acclaim for his efforts to help bring this to public attention and actually fight back the corporate powers who are involved in this. We're going to watch the first 5 minutes of this because it's a great summary. It's happening right now. It's an American story. And again, like I said, it'll instill a little bit of faith of how the internet truly is the only place where you can get media that is truly acting in that fourth estate fashion these days. Anything you want to say first to set the table for this, Megan? Because you've already covered it on your channel.
Well, I think the bigger story here to me is the realization that the American court system is not where you can go to have disputes settled anymore. You need guerrilla style YouTubers to do it for you, because otherwise you're going to waste $500,000 and 4 years of your life. And that is not justice. And that's the thing that bothers me the most about this. And I love it. I love Reckless Ben. I love everything he's doing, and I think he should keep it up.
Okay, let's watch this. And anytime along the way, you just tell me to pause. All right, Megan? Okay, here we go. Let's go start from the beginning. First 5 minutes is a really great summary.
This man spent his life collecting what's now known as the world's largest Lego Star Wars collection ever. It's estimated to be worth around $200,000. And then the entire thing got stolen, and the police are actively working with the thieves to cover the entire thing up. But the craziest part is that the collector doesn't even know that his collection's been stolen. Yeah, the collector's son, Brian, well, he reached out to me because he has no clue how to break this news to his dad.
At this point, my father had a health episode. We can't bring any stress to him.
The reason he's reaching out to me is because the police are covering this entire thing up. And at this moment, I promised Brian that I would not end this video until I get his entire world record Star Wars collection back. But anyways, the thief of this collection is actually a corporation called Bricks and Minifigs.
Bricks and Minifigs, the biggest toy store of its kind.
Is the largest toy store.
Bricks and Minifigs were not just your average Lego store.
For collectors, Bricks and Minifigs is basically seen as the best and safest way to sell your Lego collections.
I'm selling my Legos. So what I'm planning to do with them is take them to my local Bricks and Minifigs.
Because there's so much positive media about them everywhere, Brian thought that this would be the perfect store to finally sell his dad's Lego Star Wars collection.
So I wrote up a contract.
In the contract, it says that these are still the family's Lego sets, but every time one gets sold, the store gets to keep a small percentage of each sale.
This was a store's worth of inventory. So that store that day was nothing but my dad's collection. Like, all the shelves filled. They had to bring in extra shelves and filled the whole party room with shelves.
But the owner of the franchise, this woman, well, her husband had to actually leave the country due to some work-related reasons.
My husband and I were planning on moving out of the country. I reached out to corporate to let them know, hey, this is something that's coming up in the next like 4 to 5 months.
She told the Bricks and Minifigs head corporation that she was planning on selling the store, so the corporation actually was able to find a buyer to buy it from her.
They let me know that they had somebody who was interested in purchasing a franchise in the area. He was going to be in town and he was going to stop by and just take a look at it. It wasn't until Brandon got there that he informed me that they were terminating my franchise agreement. We were getting threats from Brandon and from corporate that if we didn't leave the store immediately, the police were going to be called. I told corporate I wasn't comfortable leaving that night without the inventory. I was also told I was not going to be able to stay there long enough to do that inventory.
But we don't just have to take this woman's word for it. She was actually able to save all the security camera footage from that night, proving that everything she just said is true.
All the footage and evidence is there. In the security cam footage, it's him at the store kicking her out. In that footage they sent us is Crystal asking him, how am I supposed to pay this guy? These are sets he has not been paid for.
These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours.
Who's taking on the business? He takes on all that kind of side that.
His own corporation is sitting there on video saying they're going to take it.
After this woman got kicked out of her own store, she called Brian explaining how corporate just came down and is now trying to take the world's largest Lego Star Wars collection without paying for it. So, Brian called the store to see what was going on.
Called the store, and I said, what happened to Crystal? And he goes, well, that's kind of a private matter, but the corporation's taken over the store. There's something I can do to help you with. I said, well, yeah. I am the owner of about half your store's inventory. All those vintage Star Wars sets you have in there are ours. And he goes, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, you better get to learn about it because I have a contract, I have photo evidence, video evidence, like that is our collection. So I went down to the store, brought a copy of the contract. We're like, you need to let me in back and let me see the sets that you still have. All you have to do is let me in back. We can go that route or we can go to court. And the guy just looks at me, crosses his arms and goes, let me tell you what's going to happen. If we go to court, we're going to drag this thing out so long and you're going to end up spending so much more money than your collection is ever worth or what you ever would have gotten on it, that it ain't worth it, man. So if that's the route you want to go, and I go, that's really the route you want to go, rather than just letting me walk in there. And he goes, well, what am I to do at that point?
Bricks and Minifigs knows that this family, especially with the father's health, doesn't have the resources to take them to court. And almost mockingly, they've since flooded all of their social media with tons of pictures of Star Wars Legos. At this point, it seems like they're just rubbing it in this family's face that they stole the world's largest Lego Star Wars collection in the world, and they got away with it.
Everybody is absolutely baffled. How the hell can a corporation get away with doing this?
Now, Megan, what is that? Evil for the sake of evil? Like, what the hell? What are we even talking about here?
Well, it's gotten a lot more complicated since then. And Bricks and Minifigs has actually sued Ben Schneider and is alleging that he set all of this up and he misled people about what actually happened for his YouTube channel. And now there's a giant lawsuit. I'm actually trying to download the exhibits and stuff and the complaint right now because I finally found it. I've been looking for it for hours, actually, and I finally just found it. But it is outrageous if this is true. I mean, if what he is saying is true, and I have no reason to doubt what Brian is saying is true. I have watched Reckless Ben's coverage of it. I've seen his part 1 and part 2. Now, of course, we can keep in mind the kid is a YouTuber. He's obviously he's made admissions to saying, we do things for to get people to watch, and we make it funny, and I do a lot of satire and stuff like that. However, the tape that he has of talking to the owner and to corporate, it sure seems like they knew there were Star Wars stuff there. They posted about it on social media. So just the evidence I've seen that Ben has published already. The store itself, after the original owner left and the new one took over, was posting photographs of Brian's collection with his name on it on social media saying, look at all this stuff we got for all these Star Wars. It's the largest Star Wars collection ever. And it's Brian Mansell's. It says that on their social media accounts. And there's pictures of them. So why did they do that? If they're now saying they never got it, they're now trying to say, we never had that collection. Ben's got the owner, Josh, on the phone and saying, we're going to give it back to you. And then they never do. They never give it back. Then he's got him on the phone again saying, you stole it. You did it. Take us to court. You did it. Like just real slap in the face kind of thing. So unless Ben really did some kind of editing, nonsense to make it sound like these guys are guilty and they really aren't, I don't know. Right now I'm thinking that Reckless Ben has uncovered something really awful. And unfortunately this story gets so much wilder. He has been arrested multiple times and there's a warrant out for his arrest in Utah, I think, where they want to put him in jail with no bail for opening a GoFundMe is the only explanation we have been able to understand. The charges are very nebulous. The cops will not release the body cam footage unredacted where they're talking about it, and it sounds like they're setting him up for a crime. I did just see right before I came on live, there is somebody leaked the body cam footage where they're interviewing the owner of the store, and he's making up fantastical tales allegedly about Ben being on heroin, being a drug user, that's what he told the police to get them to raid his car, to raid his house. And it's outrageous what has happened. This is going to end up though being instead of just apologizing and giving this stuff back or trying to make it good with Brian Mansell, the company has decided to launch an all-out war on Reckless Ben. And some of the lawyers I know are looking at it going, they might be able to wreck him with this. Although I'm not sure about it because, frankly, all he has said is, yeah, we want to destroy this business because they've destroyed this man's life. Now, is that tortious interference? I guess that's going to be decided in court. And when someone does something illegal, aren't you allowed to say that they're bad and nobody should go there? I mean, look at all the advertising campaigns that were done targeting advertisers by Rush Limbaugh's advertisers or other people's advertisers. When people get their pants in a twist about something, they go after the Think about what was done to interfere with business that was being conducted on Twitter right around the time that Elon Musk bought it all. Right.
That's when we start getting all the dick pills. That's when everybody started. You start seeing a whole new whoever they can take on as an advertiser to keep the thing afloat, because it was a campaign to make sure that all sizable business partners were scared off. But that's the whole thing here. You have a contract though. You have a contract.
Yeah, he has a contract. He has a contract. He has an inventory list.
So then
I don't know, but here's the crazy part. Here's the part that's nuts. I witnessed on Ben's footage. He went into the store. He offered to show them the contract. He offered to show them the inventory list. And the woman literally said, I don't want any of that. I'm not taking that from you. I don't want anything. You need to get out. And then called the police on them. Now the head of corporate is on a video saying, we want to sit down with the Mansell family. Please bring us your contract and your inventory list, and we will sit down and mediate. It's like, but you were offered this months ago, and you had him arrested instead.
That is the crux of all of this. I mean, all right, so maybe there's some kind of a financial issue at one of your locations, and you want to shutter that location. You want to, maybe I don't know the relationship that corporate has with all of their franchise owners, but if that one location has an issue with corporate, then who the hell knows? But I mean, everything inside there, it is it's all drawn up, and the ownership is very well defined. Who owns that stock? So I don't understand why this is all being redirected toward the only person who is willing to help, especially since it's obvious that the first stance that the company took was go ahead and try to take it.
Yeah. And, he said he has him on tape multiple times saying, sue us, instead of just wanting to work it out. Now, obviously, we have to wait and see how it shakes out, because Ben, Reckless Ben has edited this footage. Did he edit it in a deceptive way? I guess we don't know yet. But boy, he would have had to have done a lot of that to make it, for them to be innocent of this. I don't know. It sure doesn't seem like it to me. But again, now there's a 95-page lawsuit that's been filed in Utah, I believe, against Reckless Ben, and they're saying that he was part of a coordinated campaign to destroy their company. Now, here's the weird part. So some of the lawyers I know say because Ben said in the video publicly that he wants to take down their business, that he could have to pay for that in court. The thing is, I've been covering the Jeremy Hales case for 2 years now. Jeremy sued a bunch of YouTubers and a lawyer for coordinating a campaign to, and I quote, destroy his YouTube empire. That was written down by these people in a group chat that he has this evidence, and a federal judge has thrown out his lawsuit for tortious interference, dismissed it. Apparently that wasn't enough, getting someone in writing saying, I want to destroy this man's business. So how is it any different for Reckless Ben to say it?
I know. You can't.
I don't know.
There's all types of double standards here. And of course, I know that we're also still well within the window of precedent being set for what is now going to legally define First Amendment rights of the new media. Yes. Because what somebody like Reckless Ben or anybody out there who finds a story that your local news group, NBC, Fox, ABC, if it doesn't get the attention of the big boys and girls or anything like that from the corporate news world, who have an army of lawyers and all that other stuff, they have libel and slander lawyers that are on staff, and they tell you what's going on. I mean, this is going to really, we're still in the middle of it, and the cases that you in particular have covered, Megan, have been a big part of that. You know, what press rights do we have? The Jeremy Hill's case is actually a great one to talk about in reference to this one, because the opposition are always saying that he is using these lawsuits as a content for his YouTube channel. That's always the the allegation, let's say. And they accuse me of doing the same thing, of covering these lawsuits or as content. Well, the news does the same thing. I mean, and they've used this argument in this Reckless Ben case too. Bricks and Minifigs keep saying that Ben did all of this just for YouTube content, as if there's something wrong or illegal about that. It's not. People do journalism. I got news for you. NBC, CBS, CNN, they all do journalism for watches and views. That's why they do it. They do it for money. They don't do it because they want to do good in the world. Give me a break. They do it because they're making money. Law and Crime covers court cases because they're making billions of dollars. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it because they're an entertainment channel and they're entertaining the masses. And that's what the masses want to see. And so they're doing it. You don't see anybody in the mainstream press, though, who's covering a story or going or looking into anything, getting accused of doing things for content. Yet Nick Shirley gets accused of being who he finds massive fraud, which people are being indicted for right now in Minnesota. And he gets accused of being, he gets bills written about him in California. To keep him out of from doing investigative journalism. That was one of the most illegal things I've ever seen. But if you're a YouTuber or an independent investigator, somehow you don't have the same rights as the media, or what you do is seen as some sort of depraved or disgusting act because you make money on it. How many billions is CNN making right now? And you want to come after my YouTube, money, which is really negligible when you put it up next to think about the anthology of books that have been written by people like Carl Bernstein because of that one. You tell me he didn't cash in on his little flirting with Destiny over there in the Watergate scandal and all that stuff.
It's only okay for mainstream media to make money. It isn't. The rest of us are supposed to do it out of the goodness of our hearts. And if we don't, and if we do it out of the goodness of our hearts, but we also make money, they're going to come at us about, oh, you're just making money on this. Well, my answer to that is, what is NBC doing? What is Law and Crime doing? They're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts either. Here's another thing that bothers me about this, or that is interesting to me about this. You heard the entire premise, which is Bricks and Minifigs, according to Brian Mansell, says that they would rather drag him through court for several years, cost him all kinds of money, and he'll never get his stuff back, basically. They'd rather do that. And that is what our justice system has become. And for a long time, I have been saying, The reason why our justice system is so important is because it stops mob justice. Mob justice was a thing in this country in the wild, wild west. And in order to stop it from stopping neighbors from shooting each other in the streets or, getting a posse together and going and hanging somebody, is our justice system, having courts available for people to take their disputes to. When your court system becomes so clogged and so hard and so expensive to navigate that you have no other option than to call a YouTuber to stir up some shit, that is street justice. We are going back there. And I have said this for many years now. I've said this is where we're headed. We are heading back to mob justice because people are not going to stand for this. They're not going to have their stuff stolen. They're not going to have their family members murdered and get no justice. There will be justice at some point. And yes, if it starts in the form of a reckless Ben who does what he does with a wink and a smile, it's much better than the alternative, which is the villagers with torches and pitchforks. And that's the next step.
Yeah, it is all over the world. That's the next step. I think we're getting there in some places. And I'm actually really happy for it, to be honest, because this mental browbeating into subserviency and lethargy is something that I can't stand anymore. Like I said, I'd rather just be invaded by Genghis Khan than get this nonsense. But real quick, two quick things. If this were, but again, if it goes back to the original point with the whole Lego store and bricks and minifags, if you have this thing, this one location that, let's say, I don't know what the agreements are, the operating agreements are between individual branch locations and corporate. Let's say that they went into deep financial debt and they are being absorbed by corporate, and corporate is going to liquidate everything that they have to be able to recoup losses or something like that. Perhaps there is some kind of clause in their contract for cross-collateralization where they can take whatever's on the shelves at the time and turn it into some sort of a credit against what.
But they're not claiming that.
That's the thing. Even if they were, it's not theirs to claim because it is under contract with a private citizen.
With a private citizen.
So all this doesn't make sense.
I'm looking forward to reading the lawsuit that I just found. It's 95 pages. I want to hear what their side is. I want to hear what they're going to put it. They filed it in court. I want to hear what their side is. I want to hear what their explanation is, because they sure gave Ben a bunch of different explanations on the footage that he has. So it'll be interesting to see what story they're going to stick with. And sure, can a multi-billion-dollar corporation crush a small YouTuber in court? Yeah. I mean, Reckless Ben did not get his name by mistake. Okay. This guy has gone up against some real scary people, including the Church of Scientology. He infiltrates cults. He exposes what cults do. He also, funny, speaking of the Jeremy Hales case, there's a 6 degree of separation with one of the people he exposed in the Hales case, which is Russ McCamey from the McCamey Manor, the famous haunted house or whatever that's extreme. And Reckless Ben went into that haunted house and discovered that it's all a fake and exposed him and, did a whole lot that. And Russ McCamey is a guy that people have been trying to go after and expose for a very long time and haven't been able to do it. And there is a tie to the Hales case with McCamey, which is funny because I when I saw that, I was like, geez, maybe we should call Reckless Ben to help with the Hales case. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, it feels like there's nothing else to be done when you've tried the court system and you end up spending $500,000 and getting absolutely nowhere, not even having your day in court. This feels inevitable. It feels inevitable that there will be street justice somehow.
We got Megan Fox over here joining us over here. Please like, share, and comment. This will definitely be its own standalone video afterwards. But real quick, let's end with the whole idea of mob justice. Here's a little bit more of what's going on as of right now. As you said before, ongoing lawsuits in multiple states. There's a GoFundMe for the Manziel family that has raised the last time I saw close to $300,000.
So good. Yeah, so at least they're going to get their money back. And I think Ben is planning on taking that money and buying the Legos from the Manziels. So now Bricks and Minifags has to deal with him.
Okay, so then there you go. Now, so Schneider has posted updates, some from outside of the U.S., and more videos, significant public backlash and boycotts and reputational damage, of course, of Bricks, and that's why we're talking about tortious interference and all that stuff. But I mean, it's like if your stance is come at me, bro, when you have a contract and you have my stuff, then you deserve to get destroyed. Who cares? What? Just because you thought that you were dealing with a family with a sick father who wouldn't be able to make this kind of problem for you, and then they link up with some people who have some pull on the internet and they know how to make things go viral, that all of a sudden that's not fair. Fuck you, number one. Number two, here's the whole idea, though. I want you to talk about mob justice, because there is a side of this. What we're looking at, the working theories as far as why the police and Bricks and Minifigs are working together to, they say it seems like the police are actually on the side of the corporate entity here to stand in the way of this Lego stash from being reclaimed by the family. Some connections, you were talking about, Reckless Ben's infiltration of one cult or another. Some connection says that there's a strong Mormon issue
everybody's
here.
Mormon in this story. Everybody is Mormon in this story.
Now,
the owners, the corporate, the cops, everybody is Mormon. And as we know, we've seen these Mormon things happen before. They cover for one another. There's a reason why Ruby Franke, people called CPS on her 17 times. They were out there 17 times and never bothered to check to see if the children were okay. And 2 of her children were being tortured. There's a reason, because she was a Mormon mommy blogger and YouTuber, and they protect their own. There's a lot of corruption in Utah, and this police force is one of them. I was watching the police. I was watching the police response to this, and I found a lie in there myself from watching the tapes of the police stops. They lied. They blatantly lied about what they were told by the court in Oregon. So their new statement, the cops are saying, well, we had officers call the state of Oregon to verify that the lawsuit that Reckless Ben was trying to serve was actually a real lawsuit. And they told us that it had already been served. That's what the sheriff said. That is not true. His own body cam footage has the cop on the phone with the court in Oregon and the woman telling him service has not been done yet. And then the police officer says, so service needs to be done before the lawsuit begins. And she says, yes. And that was what he was doing out in front of his house, trying to serve him legally with the lawsuit. And those police officers arrested him for being out there legally doing what the system told him to do. And this is what makes it so upsetting. If you cannot get justice in this country, but through the court system, through the legal system, which is what he tried to do, then watch out, because the people are not going to take it. And you don't want that. That's not what you want. Let the system work. Don't stand in front of citizens trying to get justice by using the legal system, which is what Ben was doing. When those police officers tried to, I'm surprised they didn't plant the heroin, frankly.
Yeah, because there was a drug. Because when he got his arm dislocated when he was arrested, but there was a drug search of him. So I mean, there's
3-hour search of his car for heroin, and then they searched it. They raided his house.
A Reckless Ben, just for they're trying. There was a drug call for Reckless Ben. That's what that's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's, so aside from the whole, okay, well, we've seen this before in towns like Utah where everybody's of the certain stripe and there's favoritism and there's inside action there. There's also other just a little bit more practical theories about what we might have seen with the Afro Man or something, where you're also covering for initial overreach. Like if there's early police action, like the drug search pretext or the alleged arm dislocation, if that was improper, then further involvement at that point protects the department from accountability or lawsuits or bad PR. So people are just trying to wonder, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Is it really just favoritism because everybody belongs to the Church of Latter-day Saints, or is it something else? Because it's only Legos. And $200,000 to a major, a significant size corporation shouldn't really be that big of a bargaining chip. So why was this such a come at me, bro, kind of a situation?
I don't know, but those cops, they're hiding some major stuff on that body cam, and it's going to come out. Ben's got attorneys reaching out to him from all over the country, and in discovery in this lawsuit, oh, believe me, they're going to get it, and they're going to get it unredacted. They cannot keep hiding it from the public. And if I were them, I would just release it now. Release the footage unredacted. Stop hiding what your police officers did and said. Stop it now. Because look, if they did try to set him up for a crime when there was no crime committed, you just need to come clean and fire those officers and get to the root of this, because this is not, people are not going to stand for this. There's no way. The whole country is pissed off over it. I think they need to get our Department of Justice involved in this. There needs to be an investigation into why Reckless Ben was actually arrested. They stopped him illegally in the first place.
It's just nuts to me. I mean, I think first of all, my question to you is,
bitch.
I know
She's awful.
I know. As soon as he get out here, Brian's Legos. I want Brian's Legos. She's definitely been alerted that they might be coming by, and now she's in defense mode on this one over here. Get out! I'm going to call the police. I'm being harassed. If you haven't watched this, you should watch it. It's on Reckless Ben's channel. 4 million views
also,
right now.
Support him on Patreon. I joined his Patreon. He's going to be dropping part 3 on the Patreon, but support him anyway for the $8 or whatever it is, because he is up against a mammoth problem right now. I mean, this corporation is going to try to crush him. They've made their intentions known. They're going to try to crush him. It is going to be a multi-million-dollar endeavor. He is going to need massive help.
Well, what it's going to be?
He is reckless. He is reckless. My one piece of advice to Ben, I love what he does, but my one piece of advice is to get a lawyer on staff and run these things by him. And never, when you are read your rights, never talk to police. Shut the fuck up. Okay. And he talked to police for over an hour because he thinks, he's done nothing wrong. He has nothing to hide. Never, ever, ever, ever talk to police when they read you your rights. You shouldn't talk to them anyway, even if they don't read you your rights. Just don't talk to police. I wish he hadn't. I think if he hadn't and he got a lawyer that day, he would have walked out of that police station with no arrest, because they had no cause, no charges, and they just made it up out of statements that he said. So, and I'm sure it's garbage. I'm sure it will be thrown out, but we'll see.
Hey, for the Spring Fling VIP night on Friday night, my friend Danny, he is a local one of my local police officer friends. He's actually going to be doing some light security over here. Don't talk to him either, anybody. Don't talk to him either. He's untrustworthy.
I wish I was coming.
I really
wish
do.
I was going to be there.
I wish you were too.
I tried so hard to make it work, but my summer, the end of school year, with kids is so rough.
I get you. Next time, don't worry about it. It'll happen. It would be so awesome to have you here, though. You're right. The last thing I would say about this is, do you think that this is going to be a one-part Netflix documentary or several parts? Is this going to be like 3 or 4 episodes, or are we going to be able to knock this out in 1.5 hours?
I think that Ben ought to do his own documentary. He's already made several of them. He does a really good job. If I were him, I think I might not even sell it to them unless they offered a really good deal. I mean, he's on his way. He's doing I've watched a bunch of his other investigations just to try and get to know him a little bit and what he does. And I think he's an amazing, talented, smart kid. He's got a lot going for him. And I don't want to see him get crushed by this. I think he definitely wants to help people. I think he wants to right wrongs. And from what I've seen of him, I don't think he deserves what this company's about to try and do to him.
Well, we're going to have to keep up with this story together. Because obviously there's a lot more left to go. And then it looks like at the end of all this, there's going to be a trial. So this is going to be fantastic. Yeah. Another one of those trials that I think is really going to shape, again, what our powers are as the new media. It's still a forming landscape, and these are going to be the formative situations and cases that
we need it.
We need
it very badly. Judges don't know what to do with YouTubers and YouTuber lawsuits. And it's very apparently clear, the ones that I have followed, that these judges don't have a clue where to put us and what category to put us in. And that has to be fixed. It has to be It has to be challenged. It has to be litigated, and maybe this is one of those cases that will do it.
Hopefully. What are you talking about tonight on your stream?
Well, I'm talking about a lawsuit I'm currently involved in. I have sued a person named Leslie Ferderigos for malicious prosecution and vexatious litigation, abusive process. She has sued me twice and dropped it without, trying to serve it, just to defame me and what I do. And so I'm in the middle of a lawsuit with her. And I guess she has called the FBI on me for reading court documents in this lawsuit. So we're going to go over the FBI, the letter she sent to the FBI, trying to get me arrested for reading public court documents. That should be fun.
It's cozy. That's cozy. All right, wonderful. Well, listen, you are built for this kind of thing, so that's why you make it so entertaining, and we love you over here. So keep us in the loop, and I can't wait to do this again.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Frank. See ya.
Take care. There goes Megan Fox off to do her thing. Wow. Well, that's nice. That was going to be my second half topic, but once I found out that Megan knew a little about this, I said, you got to come on the first half. Let's go ahead. Okay, so now we're going to pivot to you. We're going to pivot to the UK. A couple other things I want to bring you guys on. Just for a moment, though, I want to tell you that from now until Monday night, 9 p.m., June 8th, 55% off the first month of all tiers on my Patreon. If this is a show that has kept you company over the years or however long that you have found me, then you know that I am obsessive with how I work on this show because I love it so deeply. I love the medium. And this is 20 years of doing this in one form or another. Over 10 years of this show in its current form as it is. And I want to go another 20 years with you. And I have set a sale on patreon.com/quite frankly. That in particular, you can sponsor anywhere you want for the monthly sponsorship, and you get all the same universal perks, film club, book club, the Sunday streams, all of the special product codes and things like that. It's really, really incredible what I set up, because for everything I do for the nightly show that is publicly available, I give so much more to the people who allow me to operate on a higher level and plan for the future. That's the big thing. I don't want to stay here. In fact, we have a long way to go. And where is that? I don't know. There's no finish line. I'm certainly not going to retire. So that's just it. So if you go to Patreon in particular, I'm playing around with the sale thing. 55% off. That means if you come in at $5 for your first month, you're paying $2.25. That's pathetic. But I promise you, you're going to love it. And right now I have openings with the postcard package. I write you a postcard every month. Those just went out today. 1776 Club. I still have one slot open there where we can be handwritten pen pals. I also have the War Department pen pal. That's where we take out our typewriters and we type to each other. That's awesome. I have about 6 open there. And then I have quite a few open for the Film Your Own Station ID tier. All of these tiers are 55% off. So jump in on it. Just get a taste of it. You'll see. I got to start actually reach out to all the people who have that Film Your Own Station ID where they say, hey, this is so-and-so. You're watching Quite Frankly. I got to get in touch with them all. Say, hey, you know what? Give me some 2026 station IDs. I need to start playing those because they got so old and then nobody sent me any new ones. Hopefully I can reconnect with everybody, the 6 people who are still in there, at least over there. So there you go. Just letting you know. Okay. All right. Let's open up the lines. Let's see what you guys are thinking, and then we're heading over to Europe. We might do that sooner than you think. Super chats first, which of course tomorrow night we're giving away this 1 ounce of silver. It is the eagle with the Pledge of Allegiance on the back of it. 1 ounce of copper, which is a cryptid. That is the jackalope. You get this the Yes Cacao Wild Balls, one of my favorite chocolate snacks. It's botanical chocolate. It's good for you. My band's 2017 album, and of course, Marge's 1 of 2. Margie out there embroidered this shirt. Straight people like rainbows too. I said, okay, you know what? I'm throwing that into it. I'm throwing that into the mix. And then tomorrow I'll throw in a Polaroid, and I think I'm going to add in a full bag of Verso evening being tomorrow too. That's a whole lot. It's a lot. So send a super chat anywhere, and you're going to be in the running. Okay, Stove says, great Wednesday, Frank. Great guest. Thank you, sir. Also, if you can mention, what time does Friday kick off for the Spring Fling? For the VIP night? Be here. Well, first of all, check your email. Check your email. We sent out emails to all of the ticket holders already. You'll get another one later on in the week, but it's 6 to 11 Friday night, 6 to 11 Saturday for the main event, and there's some great shit in there. I already sent you a local guide, so you can see all the, where the, quite frankly, coffee is going to be brewed all weekend. It let you guys know how to get to the beach, Playland. Andrea at the Drip Bar in Rye, who was just on the show last week with Jay, she's giving anybody who shows up at the Drip Bar in Rye, who's in town because of the event or something like that, anybody who shows up at the Drip Bar is getting a complimentary B12 shot. I might even go and get it. Okay? B12. I think it's like, she said it's like a $25 value or something. You just go to the Drip Bar, talk to Andrea, say hello. I mean, they got a red light room and all that stuff, but you get a free B12 shot. Shit. So, check your email, check your spam. It's there if you're a ticket holder, and you still have time to buy tickets. And then we have another email going out in a day. So you'll get all that information. Show up, baby. It's going to be good. Jay Britt says, another high octane visit with Megan Fox. Great show, Frank. Mark the Carnivore says, great show last night with Alberto and Vinny. I wish I could be at the Spring Fling. It's been a great show week. Keep it up. I've loved this week. It was so great. You know what I did on Monday night after Johnny and Chris and Anthony were in? I went, I dropped, where the hell did I go? I dropped Chris off at his place in town. And then I went to the Corpus Christi church where the teen center was, where we all went to school and stuff like that. And they have this grotto that they had built years after we graduated, a grotto that they had built right there in a portion of the parking lot of the church for the Blessed Mother. And I said, you know what? I just want to go over there. So I drove over there because only a couple blocks away. Went over there. I parked. Went and said a prayer. And then I realized, as I saw the light coming from underneath the church and in these big windows, that they must have had, maybe the windows were blocked off back in the day, but that was the teen center was lit up that night. What was the teen center? I've never seen these windows before. Gigantic arching windows. And I said, what? Maybe they were blocked off. Maybe it was like curtains. Maybe it was boarded up, but that is definitely new. And I should have gone live from there. I should have filmed something. Maybe I still will. It's not like it's going away, but that was a wonderful night. And Chris was so complimentary of you guys in the audience and the experience. I can't wait to have them back on more. It was a really good group of people. And then, of course, last night with Vinny and Alberto and Anthony, that I'm glad Anthony's been hanging out the last couple of, it feels like a whole week. So there's that. Okay, let's go over to Rumble real quick. Jay Semo says, I'm in for the raffle and tonight's show. And Dial76 says, raffle entry. Hey, put a couple more in. Your chances only go up from there. I'm in for the raffle and tonight's show. Why are these all repeating? Jay Semo again says, I'll add another rant for you, Frank. You're the best. My first rant had OS hiccup, I guess. Well, yeah, big hiccup. I'm seeing everybody looks double. Awakened Boomer says, Megan is feisty tonight. That Lego story is so sad. Now put me in the running for the loot. You got it. And I'll see you later on in the week, Grady. All right, let's see. A little bit on this. You want to talk about we're not buying it anymore? There's more. This SPLC thing that, it's like I said, it's not shocking you, but when you actually get to see things and you say, wow, gotcha. The face of the clock is open, and now we see all the shit that's going on. This was 8 hours ago by Tyler O'Neill, senior investigative reporter at Daily Signal. This is nuts. The Justice Department just secured superseding indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, and it reveals some new bombshells. SPLC raises money by claiming it exists to dismantle white supremacy, but DOJ says that the SPLC was actually propping up the hate it told donors it aimed to destroy. SPLC field sources, whom SPLC says were merely informants, they field those sources out there, yet the field sources use the SPLC's money to attend extremist rallies. It's all laid out in here. Host rallies, grow existing chapters, create new chapters. So like new chapters of, let's just say, the KKK. KKK is very stagnant. I think the membership is like, 3? But there's always Patriot Front type groups that pop up, and they're very easily attackable and all that stuff. Anyway, these are the investments that are being made. Recruit individuals, donate to extremist leaders, purchase cross-burning material. Materials to burn crosses, in case you were wondering what I meant. Create racist paraphernalia and pay living expenses. Let's also remember one thing here, guys. Now, we all know that the great replacement theories are not just some made-up paranoid fantasy from people who want to hold on to the racial demographics of yesteryear. It's real. It's real. And part of this latest expose of the SPLC is when we saw these squirrely little freaks that obsess over the racial makeup of the country. They have a vested interest in making sure that white people are destroyed, that they stop breeding, that they are outpaced, they are outnumbered, and they are just sucked from. All the resources, all their life force just leached off of until it's all gone. They're the ones that actually are writing the very conspicuous blog posts and articles about how by this year whites are going to be the minority in the USA. Yay, yay, yay. We see the post-it notes in their cubicles in this last expose about how whites are declining until here's the goal. Like what does that mean? What the Jack in the Box pop out? Like what happens then? So this is what they've been doing, and along the way, always remember, along the way, they are absolutely infecting society with racism. They are encouraging white children to hate themselves, to think of themselves as some kind of inherent abuser of the world. That we are in some ways a minority, even though we're only a majority, where we are only 8% of the world population if you are a white European, especially white European Christian. And all of this programming actually down the line creates, once people are fed up and they realize that there is nothing that they can do to make friends and make peace with the people around them that they're trying to work in tandem with to make the world more equitable for the minorities, for the downtrodden. This is the program we've been giving. And when you realize that all along the way, all you do is get spat upon and have your hand bitten, and more is taken from you and more resentment is lodged in your direction, eventually people snap. Some people just completely slink into a deeper sense of servitude and slavery, mental and spiritual slavery, where you are dejected and gone. You are less than. And other people just snap and say, fuck all of this. And you can actually create those racists. You can create it. So the SPLC, and people like it, the ADL, there's more we always talk about in these communist front groups and NGOs. They work very hard to create the conditions where people feel they have no other outlets, and they are more willing to take the chance in joining any of these types of groups and these chapters that pop up that fixate about preserving or growing white identity, and there's a little bit more, but there's a little bit more of a chip on the shoulder. It's not just that natural will to tend to go with your flock with no necessary bad will, where, as we see, every demographic group always tends to prefer to be with their own. Not that they don't ever want to bleed over or make friends in disparate groups or anything like that, but it's just a natural thing. It's a natural inclination that has been beaten out of white people because it's part of a program. The program you're not supposed to acknowledge, even though it's also at the same time, and it's part of the gaslighting, very, very well promoted and cheered on. It's a triumphant thing. So they actually make generational investments into people feeling so disaffected that whenever they get it's almost like that movie Higher Learning, when you feel like you don't belong anywhere, and then suddenly the Aryan Nation people say, "Hey, kid, you can join us." You're like, okay, at least it's somewhere. Like everything. These are major investments, and then they go out and they pay the actual. They purchase the cross-burning material. When you're so fed up that you're actually ready, you're at the point where you want to burn a cross. You've been fucked. You've been mind fucked so bad that you're ready. You're ready to start burning crosses. The SPLC is gonna buy you the lighter fuel. This is it, man. That's what I'm talking about. It's not. People are going to cling to this because it has made them wealthy. And even if it hasn't put money in their pockets, it's given them permission to do things that anybody in a reasonable society would admit is abhorrent behavior. The way that people behave today, especially when you see the racial divide and how people behave, it's because there is permissions granted for people to go out and protest fake civil rights causes and be as rowdy as you want to get it out of your system, while everybody else is told to stay home and mask up. There are privileges and there are responsibilities. There are winners and there are losers, and it's all psychological. SPLC set up fictitious entities to fund field sources. National Alliance, SPLC paid over $1.2 million to F9 at some kind of a source who was in a romantic relationship with an SPLC employee. Does that mean an SPLC employee was banging a racist? Damn, she couldn't get enough. Because, the racist was definitely the guy. While receiving SPLC donors' money, F9 also raised funds for the National Alliance. Nazi KKK leader, SPLC paid more than $70,000 to, source F30, a Nazi KKK Aryan Nations leader. F30 asked the SPLC to help him/her, they don't know who it is, leave the movement. SPLC gave F30 a salary to stay. It's like, listen, I don't want to be racist anymore. They said, no, please. We have a big send-off at Charlottesville soon. Please. It's so hard to find a racist these days. Please. Once we're done, there'll be plenty of new racists born. And then we'll be in that'll get that's there. You got to laugh or else you'll burn something to the ground. F30 gave a salary to stay. F30 used the money to host extremist rallies, recruit members, and publish materials. KKK gets cold feet. There's more. These are all these in the charging documents. F30, that's a source. These are all just code names. Wasn't the only one. F31 and F32 KKK members wanted out in 2010. The SPLC bribed them to stay in the movement. These sources used the money to attend extremist rallies and to gain leadership roles. SPLC reimbursed them for cross-burning materials. Just want to remind you again that it's 55% off the first month of sponsoring the show on Patreon until 9 p.m. on June 8th. That's $225. It's not enough to burn a cross, not enough to buy a cross to burn, but it is enough. It is enough to I don't know. This is a different kind of membership. It's good for the soul. Incredible. Let's keep going. Neo-Nazi featured. SPLC gave $155,000 plus to F42, former chairman of the Neo-Nazi National Alliance. At the same time, SPLC featured this field source on its extremist file webpage. Okay? So they actually had a webpage and they featured some of the people that they are paying. You definitely have to give them six figures to say, hey, listen, and we're going to put you on our extremist webpage. Now, let's be honest. After their work is done, their identity will probably get scrubbed and they'll get recycled and they'll be put on the front line of some kind of a Democrat protest in New York City where the same faces show up in different roles every time. These are real crisis actors right here. The crisis is that they could not find any racists, that the supply was not enough to keep up with demand. Unite the Right, F-37, a member of the leadership chat. The leadership chat for the Charlottesville rally in 2017 made racist posts under an SPLC employer's supervision and arranged transport for others to attend the rally. SPLC paid this person 300,000 smackaroos. You live good down here. They also paid $350,000 to an officer of the National Socialist Movement, an Aryan Nations-affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club. There you go. So again, we're not buying it anymore. You show this to a dyed-in-the-wool liberal, and they'll go, listen, you infiltrate things all the time. You're making a big deal about it, so they're being infiltrated. We're infiltrating groups. Like, no, you're paying them. You're paying them. You know? You're buying them their back-to-school supplies. You know? But they know what the deal is. They're playing a role. They know what the deal is. They're not going to come to your side. But that's just a real thing. Okay. The cards are on the table. Now what? Not buying what you're putting down. Now what? Full-scale riots in UK. We'll get to your super chats in just a second. We'll open up the lines for your calls. I just want to hear what's on your mind. Full-scale riots have erupted in the UK. In Southampton, there you go, as hundreds of protesters clash with riot police throwing glass bottles, bricks, wheelie bins at officers. As tensions continue to escalate throughout the area, demonstrators are demanding justice for Henry Nowak, while chants of "I can't breathe" ring out across the crowd. Oh, you remember those? I remember those chants. It's just incredible. And I hope it's that time for England, man. I root for people. I root for France. I root for everybody. Our day will come where something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. I'm not even talking about pitchforks and torches and all that stuff. But this cannot keep up. And everybody's going to react a different way. And I find it nice. Really, really, really inspiring to see people find their balls. Here's a little something. Then you have Keir Starmer. He sends a warning against to people who are involved in disorder.
But no matter the pain we feel,
Quisling.
There is no justification for more violence and disorder.
Yes, here.
The attacks directed towards police officers in Southampton last night were disgraceful and completely unacceptable.
It's disgraceful that they're not throwing pedophiles in jail when they find these generationally run sex rings because they don't want to upset the immigrant communities. That's what it is. Just like over here in the United States. Listen, I'm never going to be the type that flies the thin blue line American flag in front of my house. I love really, really good police work, and I know we have a lot of patriotic police and sheriffs out there, but we have got to just call balls and strikes with them as well. COVID does not happen. It does not play out the way we remember it if we had lawmen who were putting civil liberties first. That doesn't happen without the complicity of law enforcement. And there were shining examples around this country of people who would not compromise civil rights because of a declared pandemic where everybody had choices to make. What are you going to wear over your face? Who's going to leave the house? Who's staying home? So it's not across the board. You got to call balls and strikes. And again, this is ridiculous. You know, they always holding people to standards and they have no standards. I love this one from the Babylon Bee. UK authorities issue stern warning to British people to stop being stabbed by Muslims or Sikhs. Here's a guy who is risking everything for putting this out on TikTok. Literally, just for putting these thoughts out, he's risking everything.
Enough is enough. Now, I don't want to embarrass myself or my family by putting myself out there this way, but I can't contain this anymore. I'm so angry, I'm so hateful, I'm so resentful towards these situations that keep happening day after day in this country. But not just the situations, the people, the millions of us that just keep hearing about them and doing nothing. Because we're okay, because we can come home, lock our door, our family's safe, we're fed, we're clothed. It's okay to ignore it. Or we talk about it and we say how bad it is, but do nothing. It's not okay. That boy was 18 years old, and in his time of need, when he's dying after being stabbed multiple times, choking on his own blood, you can hear it in his voice. It chokes me up. My kids are not a million miles away from being 18. Imagine being the parents watching that video of our kids. It could be you next. It could be your family. We've got to stand united against this now. The government are treating people differently because of their ethnicity. This narrative is getting us killed. They said he was racist. This dangerous narrative is getting people killed. And where's the media? Where's the left? Where's the government that keep pushing this shit out, that is causing this shit to happen? Nowhere.
They're a bigger problem than the actual the foreign pawns that they brought in. You can't say, mass deportations across the board have got to go. That's part of it. Everybody has to leave. You got to get out. How do you do that? I don't know. It's going to take a long time. And I think a lot of that's number one, has to. But then you still have to think about the worst oppressors that you have, and that is your Quislings like Keir Starmer and all of his fellow travelers. Those people who are doing it in the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere, and they're all working together, even though they fly different flags. The face of someone like Starmer, the face of someone who should be on the side of preserving a nation's identity, who instead gaslights you into thinking that you're wrong for wanting that identity preserved, and that there's anything remotely wrong with what's happening in the streets of your home. Now, thankfully, those years are gone, and it's only going to get harder for the Louis Protheros of the world, of the media, to keep people in check. We will not be bullshitted about what's going to be happening, or what's happening, and what's going to happen. And this particular thing, this situation in England is ridiculous. First of all, you guys remember those creepy images of the steel angels that were where the hell? Hold on, wait a second. UK knife angels. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, fuck. It's still creepy as shit. Damn, this is weird. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. You guys remember this? Wait, October 2025. This was a lot longer ago than that. Oh, it came back? Look at this thing. Look at how ugly and disgusting and weird this is. Okay? A sculpture made from 100,000 knives arrived in Welwyn Garden City to coincide with an amnesty. I don't know. When the hell did this come out? When the hell did... Hold on. Just for a little Knife Angel history. UK Knife Angel history. Let me just give you the history. I need to know when it was again. The Knife Angel, officially named National Monument Against Violence and Aggression, is a contemporary 27-foot tall British sculpture forged from over 100,000 confiscated and surrendered knives. Okay? Forget about firearms. This angel has been forged by 100,000 plus knives and melted into the form of a creepy ass angel, just like it's Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne, with all of the forged blades. Completed in 2018 by sculptor Alfie Bradley and commissioned by the British Ironwork Centre of Ossory, Shropshire. It stands as a national memorial to victims of knife crime and powerful visual protest against all form of violent behavior across the United Kingdom. So not only are they confiscated knives, they were also knives that were used in crimes, killings, deaths. This is what they do in England. You know, you can barely find legal reasoning for having anything more than a butter knife in your home in England. All right? And they turn it into this creepy ass angel. And this kid, Henry Nowak, 18-year-old who was stabbed by a Sikh, he was killed by a Sikh who was carrying, I have to imagine, a government-approved ceremonial knife. That Sikh, it's like a religious adornment or something like that. This guy was able to carry around his knife because it's part of his religion. So he was allowed to be armed in public, essentially, with a knife, like this is Arabian Nights, because it was a religious adornment. And because he lied about this kid, Henry, hitting his turban or whatever the hell it was, and, you know, accusing him of racism, Henry is bound, and he spends his final minutes on the floor with his hands bound, bleeding out, until they make sure he wasn't a racist, first and foremost. And the Hampshire police, this is why people are getting angrier and angrier. The police out there, they actually published a statement that Henry Nowak would have died anyway. This is what I found over here, regardless of whether he was handcuffed. And they're just okay with running that up the flagpole. But if you besmirch the sacred name of an actively overdosing felon like George Floyd, forget about it. He would have died anyway. Didn't matter with him. Didn't matter with him either, but that's sacrilege for the same people to say that George Floyd was dying. He was actively dying. He was dying of an overdose, and whether he had a knee on his neck or not, he was dying. That does not mean shit to the same people who are forgiving themselves for keeping a British man restrained as he bled out after getting stabbed by a Sikh with his religious sword. So, I mean, this is why it's over. And maybe some people are going to be a little bit more comfortable voicing these thoughts and opinions and shit like that. But even deep inside, people are divorcing themselves from the idea that the media and the government and law enforcement, being a mixed bag, policy enforcement of that government, they're divorcing themselves from this idea that all the intentions are good. Because they're not. They're obviously not. There is a civilization-wide operation to keep people spiritually suppressed while they are being gutted, economically, culturally, and otherwise. It is civilization-wide. Some of you people in certain European countries have it better than others, worse than others. What's this? I just got sent this from a friend of mine. Hopkinton Public Schools passed a policy allowing Sikh students to bring and carry knives to school for religious reasons. Where the hell is this? Where's Hopkinton? Is this in the UK as well? Hopkinton? Hold on. Hopkinton. Hopkinton? Massachusetts? Massachusetts. They're allowing Arabian Nights in Hopkinton's public schools passed a policy allowing Sikh students, Hopkinton, Massachusetts, Sikh students knives. Let me see what pops up here. Hopkinton, Massachusetts Public School District allows initiated Sikh students to wear a kirpan, a small, dull, ceremonial blade that is a core article of the Sikh faith. Fuck you. Fuck off. That was April 1st of 2024. I guess it's just one of those things that is becoming a little bit more like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's not a good idea. Well, you'd think so. That's 2 years ago. But now this pops off in the UK and people are doubling back, I guess. I just found this. Wow. Well, you know what? I mean, what else do you want me to say? What else do you want me to say? What do you have to say? It's 8:38. I've got a little bit less than 20 minutes left with you guys before we go into the flip side and listen to some music and just rock out or something. I'm going to leave the lines open and you can call in. I want to hear from you. Jeez. All right, fine. Call me now, you son of a bitch. 914-200-0269. Give me a tickle. Go ahead. Tickle the phone. Pick it up. 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. I'm going to read through your super chats and take your calls. First one up is Willie. What's going on, Willie?
Hey, tickle the phone. Hello.
Hello, sir. Willie, go ahead.
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, this whole knife thing, right? I seen about it. There's a different kind of knife they could have, right? And they could have a what do you call it? A celebrated knife or something.
Yeah,
but
we got
it's like a knife with a curve in it or something. It's not like a dagger.
Yeah.
The one he had was an Afghan dagger one. And the guy, I don't know, 6 weeks or some weeks before or whatever, right? These people are totally different than us. They have a whole different thing. It's so fucked up. These people are fucked up. And they're, protecting their own and protecting their things. I'm not standing up for the guy, right? But the guy, the young 18-year-old guy is walking down the street, whatever, right? And the guy sticks him with an Afghan knife, not a Sikh knife, right? Which is supposed to be like the curvy blade that'll just slash you, not, poke into your organs and kill you. It's a crazy thing. And this shit happened in 25. It happened in December 25. And the English people kept it all away from us. These people are going nuts. And they were going nuts the other day. And they've been going nuts with the farms. I don't even know what to say. I'm glad it's not happening here yet. But, boy, it's starting to look like it's starting to happen here, right?
Well, it looks like people, I don't know. Soon you're going to see kids, foreign kids going to school with scimitars. That'll be the next thing. Scimitar, full on scimitars.
You know, I got swords, I got this, I got that. You know, I'm going to have my ceremonial 1911 and my ceremonial 12 gauge, right? Because, you know, that's my religion.
Well, you know, that's a great point, Willie. That's a great point. That's it's part of my religion to stay alive and defend myself as well. So then I think we should have open carry in all states. I think that should be it. And the fact that you wouldn't be able to carry the small ceremonial knife because you're not Sikh. So I think we have to start finding some loopholes here. It's just incredible. Listen, here's the other thing. Again, it's a hard thing because we were just talking about this before. The investments that were made by organizations like the SPLC, what they do over the course of generations is they create real resentment through a number of things. Forced integration is one thing. Picking winners and losers, the whole granting of privileges and responsibilities, that is something that it takes a couple of generations and you are able to absolutely destroy people and a cohesive society that can, to some degree, have an element of diversity there. But you have outside of everybody's, roots where they come from, however many generations back, you have a consolidated civic culture. And if you're talking about Europe, you're talking about ethnic culture. We keep hammering that down. Yeah, there is civic traditions out there too. There's voting and all that other stuff. But you are ethnically German, ethnically French, ethnically Italian. I mean, that's what it's all about. To disrupt that is to destroy that nation, to destroy that culture, to destroy diversity. So, and they do this constantly, and it's always to make sure that, you know, it sucks because there's going to be people who want to be able to emigrate to, the West and be a part of it, and they don't really want to be one of tens of millions that are just. Many people just want to get away from how it is at home. And the fact that the third world is now replacing the first world in so many ways, at least from the standpoint of you can project and see where it's going to take over if something is not done immediately and drastically, it's really rough because that's part of the issue. It's going to create a lot of broad-stroked anti-immigration sentiment, and that plays right into the controller's hands. That is part of that end phase chaos that they know that they can also take advantage of. You know, it's rocking a hard place shit. It is. It's rocking a hard place. But, self-preservation says, situational awareness. You're going to have to keep an eye out while you sleep. 306, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, is this Frank?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
Oh my God. Oh, it's Dal.
Dal, welcome to the show. It's good to finally hear your voice. What's on your mind?
Hi. No, I was wondering about the you were talking about the LEOs.
The LEO?
Right. And hold on a sec.
Okay. Well, bye. Hello. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so Willie laid it down. My ceremonial 12 gauge.
I know.
Pretty good.
I know.
That's pretty good. So the first time I ever even a little bit differed with a dear friend of mine. He's Israeli. He's more conservative than me and you are. And I was talking about Henry Novak's father's speech. Did you watch it?
I did not watch the speech. No.
So it's pretty bad, Frank. Honestly, it's watchable and it should be watched. You should probably put it up, and you can show all of your viewers what it looks like to lay down and die. You should have said nothing.
Oh,
Should have said nothing.
so he
You
did.
should have said nothing.
He did. Did he do the thing where where everybody?
So his wife and his daughter were literally falling to fucking pieces. You could see them breaking, metabolizing in front of your eyes as he talked about Henry was a good boy. Of course he was a good fucking boy. And then he goes on to talk about knife crime. I mean, this is literally what England has always been about. If you understand, during World War II, they kept trying to escape from the same fucking camp to go and continue fighting the war while their brothers were dying. If they stopped trying to escape, they would have gotten the fucking medicine they needed. Nope, they kept trying to escape. Lay down and fucking die.
You know, I know exactly. I like I said, I haven't seen it, and thank you for the call. I know exactly the kind of. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not going to watch it now.
The English. I emailed you. I told you my fucking uncle said, and he was not a radical. He was an Iowa farm boy who went to World War II, and he fought alongside the English. And he said, if there ever comes a war again, I'm fighting against these guys. He didn't give a fuck who he was shooting. He was just shooting whoever he was being pointed at. But the English, and so we talked about the French Revolution, right? We talked about materialism, liberalism, progressivism. This is what Europe is doing. And in the United States, Donald Trump, and I swear to goodness, he's not the guy. He's not the guy that you think. He's just doing a thing because he has been given the reins to take America forward. If you don't love this fucking man for what he's doing, forget about it, because we're all fucked after this. I love you, Frankie.
Well, thanks for the call. Thank you for expressing yourself. And I know exactly what the hell's going on. I know. I've heard that eulogy so many times. It's the most pathetic thing you can think of. You have a mother or a father or a wife or a husband or somebody that gets up in front of a crowd. They are, I mean, the body is freshly buried, or sometimes not even. And they make it all about making sure that everybody doesn't make this about race, doesn't make this about a war between civilizations that have been foisted upon us, that has been thrown into our laps. It is the most unnatural turn in history, in our history. Such a rapid turn, a rapid course of events that has literally threatened the very. I mean, it's so rapid and so unnatural, and it's really just so pathetic when you see the now living representatives of a freshly murdered person get up in front of a microphone. I don't even know how they have it in them to make a public statement at that point. But the fact that they take that time to encourage people to not make this about race, not make this about cultural incompatibility. It's all about the knives. It's just the knives. We don't have guns, so it's about knives. And when it's not about knives, it's about acid. And when it's not about acid, it's about running people over with a Fiat. The Fiat attacks. Just, we got to stop. What is it about Fiats that make people just, at some point or another, when you're driving around town to get milk, you're always fighting off the urge to run somebody over while screaming Allahu Akbar? Why is it? Why does this happen? Now, that's pathetic. It's really, really sad, and unfortunately, we've seen that play out so many times. Mama Boot says, "Put me in, coach." Thank you so much for the super chat, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the support in that respect. Whatever little bit you could throw toward the show and be part of the raffles and just let me know what you're thinking and shout somebody out. It really goes a long way. Quite frankly, superchat.com in particular, because that goes directly to the show, 100% of it. And I mean, we still got to pay taxes, but at least it doesn't have 30% taken off the top by all these other places. But then again, 70% of something is better than 100% of nothing. Thank you all so much. Let me make sure I got everybody else over here on Pilled. I'm going to get to your calls. I have more calls coming in right now. We only have about 7 minutes left. Up to the top, Tommy Jekyll says, I'll just kick back over here. Frank will never get that nexus. We'll never get the nexus on this one. What does that mean? Tommy also says, Frank, if you see this and can put your hands on the title, what were the jazz licks you opened last night the show with? You talking about the opening music? I don't know. We can check that out on the flip side tonight. I'll find what was in my watch history. Amethyst Cat says happy hump day. Rosie sends some shades. Delona sends a ship. Silly Boar, Amethyst Cat. Deansy says, Frank, I wish I could make this weekend, but we're just too busy. Here's something to pay for someone's steak. There's going to be so much steak consumed. Come to the Spring Fling. If you're in the tri-state area, if you're within 150 miles of Westchester, New York, come out. The tickets are on quitefrankly.tv, the events page. Get the main ticket. I was talking to Sal today. We're talking a colossal amount of steak. And not only that, Sal is going to actually be butchering some of the steak there. He saved a nice prime rib that is untouched just so that he can make conversation with you guys and cut it and just, schmooze and all that stuff. I wish we can smoke cigars outside, but we can't smoke cigars on the grounds. But I mean, there's going to be so much great stuff there. If you don't know where to find it, get in touch with me, Frank at quitefrankly.tv. You got to get some tickets. There's still a couple left. And I know that there are Franklies in the tri-state area that would have a good time. Get on out. There's even some VIP still open. Anyway, thank you, Deansy. Corey, thank you. JR at the Lakes is another great show. Love when Megan is on. PC Native, hello to you. Dewdrop says, woohoo. Took an ocular migraine to be able to see live. Oh, geez, I hope you're feeling better. Safety Net says, a wee bit of gold in the goal of the greatest show on the planet. Much love, Lynn. I've got some blood pressure medication to take at the top of the hour. Going to need it, says Tommy Jekyll. Thank you, AC. Thank you, Asshead. Rosie again. Stowstube says, thank you, sir. Got it. Damn spam email abyss. Throw the other shit in spam and keep the only QF emails. Okay, good. I'm glad you got it all. Stowstube says, send an EMP because he's overwhelmingly amazing. I can't wait to have some steak. I can't wait to have some sourdough bread dipped into this Grecian olive oil and sea salt here for the VIP with Stowstube and his wife hanging out. I got to figure out a way to put, I don't know what the hell to put on the TVs over here. He says, nightly goal accomplished. Matching it for the wonderful Franklies out there. Keep great independent media coming to us, Frank. Love to you and everyone else. EMP. And then Icebox sends an EMP too. Now I'm getting completely doused with love by everybody over there. Pilled are hardcore. The Pilled crowd is hardcore over there, I got to say. Revolution says, all you can eat snack bar. Nathan W says, hey, y'all. And then Vesper says, really want your CD. Put me in. You got it. All right, 8:56. We have time for one or two more calls. We are out of here at 9. And, but it's not over because it's the after hours right at there. Give me a buzz. 914-200-026. 914-200-0269. Man, there's a lot of people. If Stowstube wins, I can just give him his prize when he gets here on Friday night. 914-200-026. You know what? That might just be it. That might just be it. Okay, one more. 306, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank.
Hello.
It's Dal.
Dal, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. No, I wanted to sort of challenge you on the allegation that the LEOs are sort of in on the whole conspiracy theory of it.
They're not in on it.
I'm not.
But they're a part of it.
You made the allegation, right? So you made the allegation that the LEOs were perhaps in on the whole conspiracy of the, Illuminati shit. So
No.
I was kind of hoping you'd elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, they're policy enforcement arms. So I'm not like they're attending the board meeting or they are, but you can't separate law enforcement from a plan that is put into place for an entire society, especially when it requires locking a society down and making sure that certain local and regional, citywide edicts are put into place. Telling business owners when they can stay open, when they can't, shutting people down for, you can't do any of that without policy enforcers. I'm not saying that your local police officers walking the beat are taking a Zoom call with Illuminati masters.
Okay, well, so you hit on my point. You hit on my point I was trying to make. Who are the policy makers? The people in the community, right?
Not in COVID's case. It wasn't that real. I mean, yeah, people just start getting they're influenced by what's going on up the ladder, and they try to be the local Anthony Fauci's. They take inspiration from what they see happening on the federal level, and they kind of take it upon themselves to be the good Germans in on the local level. And that does play out in city council chambers and state houses and senates. But yeah,
the only thing I wanted to put out there, the only thing I wanted to present was that the good Germans were the actual people, were the public, the majority of the public.
Okay, but do you understand what I'm saying? Because you said you wanted to challenge me on something, and I just want to make sure that we understand what I was saying. That there's no, I don't think that you can't separate policy enforcement from what is happening in the world, whether it's in the United States or in the United Kingdom. You can't, and that doesn't mean that every cop and sheriff in the United States have gone along with what everybody wanted for people during something like COVID or not. Some were doting water carriers, others were defenders of civil liberties, no doubt about it. But you cannot pull off what we see in the UK without there being a willing contingent of law enforcement that is going to knock on a door and put somebody in cuffs when they say something that is considered unsavory on Facebook. You can't do that without police.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you.
That's what I was saying.
I agree with you on that. All I'm saying is that the public has a bigger voice to influence the policies of the police. It was the public that inadvertently enforced what the police were doing. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay. Well, point taken, and I'm glad we were able to find some common ground on that one. Okay, well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. Tomorrow night, it is the Thursday. Wow. It's the night before VIP night. I'll probably start the show alone. I don't know. Jay is going to swing by tomorrow night. He might be here for showtime, or he might be getting here a little bit later on. But we'll have some fun tomorrow night. We'll make sure that there's a good amount of topics. We'll open up the lines. We'll have some, topical issues and fun. And that's it, man. It's Thursday. Thank you for a really wonderful week so far, but it's not over because we're going to jump over to the flip side. Right now, I'm putting the link in the chat room. Come to the flip side. Come to the flip side. And if you don't see the link, then just go to quitefrankly.tv because it's going to be there. We're just going to be hanging out until the lights go off at 9:30, which is in 28 minutes from now. All right, guys, you've been fantastic. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking and commenting. If you haven't done that, please do that before you leave, whether you're watching live or on demand. Thank you so much. Because while we are retooling our workflow as quite frankly, the production, you guys are carrying us in a big way by telling whatever platform that you're on, hey, that this is a quality operation. I'm watching it, I'm liking it, I'm interacting with it, and it should be suggested to at least all the people who are already subscribed to it. So make sure you have your notifications on. I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Thank you for everything. Join the Discord, be a part of it all, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Nighty-night, everybody. You bitch.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
God, that was almost perfect. It's almost perfect. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Come to the flip side. The link is now in the chat rooms, and I hope to see you all there. You guys have been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I will see you guys in a little bit, and thank you to our super chatters. I'll get around to you all, and I'll go through that in a little bit here, too. Maybe we'll do some joy scrolling. Maybe we'll listen to some music. I don't know, but I'm going to let my hair down a little bit. Feel the wind on my scalp. Take care. Have a great night. Thank you, Megan Fox, for coming in a pinch.
Losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefits.